When a narcissist becomes frustrated, something unusual happens. They don't just show anger, they unravel. The mask slips, revealing parts of themselves they've spent years hiding. These strange reactions might seem confusing at first, but each one reveals what they fear most. Losing control. Let's uncover the 8 bizarre ways they behave when their perfect image starts to crack. First, they exaggerate confidence. Instead of admitting defeat, they double down, laughing louder, bragging harder, acting untouchable. It's not pride, it's panic disguised as power. Deep down, they know something isn't going their way, but they'd rather perform than be honest about failure. The louder they act, the more fragile they really are. Second, they rewrite the situation instantly. A narcissist will twist reality in real time. If they're losing an argument, suddenly it's not about that. If they're caught lying, they'll say you misunderstood. This mental gymnastics isn't confusion, it's defense. They must control the narrative, even if it makes no sense. Third, they become sarcastic and cruel under pressure. When frustration builds, their words sharpen like knives. Mockery replaces conversation, and humiliation becomes their shield. They think tearing others down restores balance, that control returns through cruelty. It never does, but they're too trapped in ego to see it. Fourth, they suddenly play the victim. The moment their tactics fail, they switch roles, crying, sulking, claiming no one understands. It's a manipulation reset button. If anger doesn't work, pity might. Their frustration becomes a performance of pain, meant to pull your empathy back into their control. Fifth, they isolate and brood in silence. When the mask cracks, they vanish, not for reflection, but strategy. They need time to rewrite the story, to gather energy for their next emotional attack. That silence isn't peace, it's plotting. Behind closed doors, they're rehearsing how to regain control when they reappear. 6. They mimic your emotions. If you're calm, they act calmer. If you're angry, they escalate. It's psychological mirroring, not empathy, but manipulation. They study your reactions like a playbook. Their frustration drives them to copy emotions they don't understand, hoping it regains dominance over you. 7th, they become obsessed with proving superiority. You'll see them post online more, brag to others, or suddenly compare themselves to you. It's not confidence, it's a desperate distraction. They can't stand feeling powerless, so they inflate themselves in every possible way. It's a fragile ego screaming, "I'm still important." 8th, and perhaps most unsettling, they turn their frustration inward. When no one's left to manipulate, they self-destruct. They replay conversations, overthink insults, and spiral into paranoia. They can't sit with imperfection, so they start attacking themselves internally. That's the dark truth behind their silence. These 8 behaviors might look strange, but they follow a pattern. Frustration exposes the narcissist's deepest fear: insignificance. Every reaction, every outburst, every cruel word is an attempt to patch a fragile ego cracking under pressure. When you see these signs, remember, their chaos isn't power, it's panic pretending to be control. When frustration hits, narcissists don't just feel it, they broadcast it. Their tone changes, their body language stiffens, and their eyes go cold. Every small failure feels like a personal insult. You can sense the tension in the room before they even speak. It's their ego trembling under the weight of truth. They also start seeking validation urgently. You'll notice them fishing for compliments, asking subtle questions like, "Do you think I handled that well?" It's not curiosity, it's insecurity begging for rescue. They need someone to patch their crumbling self-image before it collapses completely. Another strange behavior is their need to control time. If you try to end a conversation or walk away, they'll suddenly have just one more thing to say. They stretch arguments endlessly, Why? Because the moment you leave, they lose their grip on your attention, and attention is their oxygen. Frustration turns them into emotional shapeshifters. One minute they're furious, the next they're sweet and apologetic. It's a dizzying cycle designed to confuse you. The goal isn't peace, it's dominance through unpredictability. If you're off balance, they stay in control. Sometimes they fake deep insight. A frustrated narcissist might suddenly act self-aware, saying things like, "I guess I have things to work on." But it's a trap. They're not reflecting, they're resetting. This fake humility buys time for their ego to recover while convincing you that change is possible. They also become obsessed with comparison. They'll bring up people from their past, exes, co-workers, even rivals, to prove they're still superior. "At least I'm not like them," they'll say. It's insecurity dressed as pride. They measure worth through others' flaws because they can't find peace within themselves. Frustration makes their paranoia spike. They begin believing everyone's out to get them. Friends, family, even you. Every neutral comment sounds like criticism. Every silence feels like judgment. Their world becomes a mirror reflecting their own insecurity back at them. And they can't stand the view. You'll also notice strange impulsiveness. They may make sudden purchases, post dramatic statements online, or pick pointless fights. These actions aren't random, they're distractions. Narcissists can't tolerate emotional stillness, so they create chaos to avoid feeling small or forgotten. In quieter moments, they project calm, but it's fake. Inside, they're boiling. That forced composure is their attempt to appear superior while drowning in envy and resentment. You can often tell by the tight smile or the too long stare. Behind it is rage fighting to stay hidden. When frustration lasts too long, they start idealizing someone new. A friend, a co-worker, a stranger, anyone who can offer fresh admiration. They shift focus fast, pretending they've moved on from you or the problem. But really, they're feeding the same hunger in a new place. Validation addiction disguised as indifference. As frustration builds, their behavior becomes unpredictable. They'll alternate between silence and confrontation, praise and punishment. You'll never know which version of them you'll get next. This inconsistency isn't random. It's control through confusion. They thrive when you question your own stability. Eventually, the mask cracks completely. Their words become contradictory. Their logic collapses. You might even see flashes of vulnerability. A tear, a tremor, a moment of truth, but don't mistake it for change. It's not remorse, it's exposure. Their real self slipping through the cracks. If you stay calm during their storm, something incredible happens. They panic. Your peace threatens their illusion of control. They may accuse you of being cold or uncaring, but what they really feel is powerless. Silence becomes your shield, and they can't stand it. Over time, their frustration isolates them. People withdraw, tired of walking on eggshells. The narcissist blames everyone else, calling others ungrateful or weak. But deep down, they know the truth. Their behavior pushed everyone away. The empire of ego begins to collapse, one silence at a time. When you finally see these 8 strange behaviors clearly, you stop taking them personally. Their frustration is not your fault. It's the echo of their emptiness. You can't fix what refuses to heal. The best response is calm distance, because peace, not confrontation, is the one thing that truly defeats a narcissist. As the narcissist's frustration deepens, they begin to self-sabotage. They pick fights with allies, destroy opportunities, and blame the world for their failures. They don't realize it, but this is how their downfall begins, not through punishment from others, but through the chaos they create for themselves. They often replay conflicts in their mind, rewriting the past so they're always the hero or the victim. This mental movie helps them escape reality, but it also traps them there. They become stuck in a loop of resentment, reliving every imagined insult, while convincing themselves they were right all along. When they sense people pulling away, they panic and overcompensate. Suddenly, they're charming again, overly kind, overly generous, acting like nothing happened. It feels like relief, but it's temporary. The charm is a bandage for control loss, and as soon as they feel secure again, the mask falls. You'll notice they start mimicking spiritual or psychological language. "I'm healing," they might say, or "I'm learning self-awareness." But these words are tools, not truth. They mimic growth to manipulate forgiveness. The performance of change replaces actual change, and they expect applause for pretending. In frustration, narcissists also seek new audiences. They vent to outsiders, subtly painting themselves as misunderstood heroes. They need a fresh listener, someone unaware of their patterns. This is how they recycle their narrative. Old drama, new stage, same script, until one day, even strangers see through it. Some frustrated narcissists turn their focus inward, but not for healing, for obsession. They become hyper-aware of every perceived slight. They stalk social media, analyze texts, and overthink every silence. It's not curiosity, it's control in disguise. They can't rest until they regain emotional dominance. Their frustration also reveals hypocrisy. They demand empathy, but show none. They preach loyalty but betray others. They crave respect but never offer it. Every contradiction becomes visible once they lose their temper. That's why frustration is so dangerous for them. It unmasks everything they've hidden. As control slips further, they resort to emotional blackmail. They'll threaten to leave, expose secrets, or cut you off emotionally. These aren't real intentions, they're desperation moves. They want you to chase them, to prove you still care. But every time you stay calm, you take back the power they crave. Then comes the denial phase. They'll act like nothing happened, pretending all is well. It's confusing at first, but it's a reset attempt. By erasing conflict, they avoid accountability. For them, silence isn't peace, it's manipulation through dismissal. They believe if they ignore the damage, it disappears. You'll also see impulsive grand gestures. A sudden apology, an unexpected gift, or emotional outpouring that feels sincere. But sincerity isn't their goal. Reaction is. They feed on your emotional energy, whether it's anger or forgiveness. Calm indifference starves them faster than any confrontation. When their frustration fails to control you, they start turning on themselves subconsciously. They make reckless choices, burn bridges, and sabotage relationships. Their world becomes smaller, darker, lonelier. It's the quiet karma of arrogance. They destroy the same stability they once demanded from others. The longer they live in frustration, the more delusional they become. They create alternate realities, where everyone wronged them. In those fantasies, they're the victim, the misunderstood genius, or the wounded soul. It's tragic, really. They could find peace in truth, but pride blocks the path every time. Narcissists hate one thing more than exposure: irrelevance. When frustration isolates them, they crave attention, even negative. That's when they start baiting others with drama, gossip, or fake crises. They'd rather be hated than forgotten. To them, silence isn't calm, it's death to the ego. Meanwhile, the empath, the one who endured their moods, begins to heal. You stop reacting, stop explaining, stop rescuing. You realize their frustration never belonged to you. It was a mirror of their own emptiness. That's when freedom begins, not with revenge, but with understanding. Your peace becomes their punishment. The calmer you are, the more they unravel. They'll call you cold, selfish, or heartless. But what they're really saying is, I can't control you anymore. The irony is that your detachment hurts them more deeply than their rage ever hurt you. In their solitude, they replay the past, but this time, the audience is gone. The people who once soothed their frustration have moved on. Their apologies, once powerful, now fall flat. The silence around them becomes unbearable, not because it's quiet, but because it's honest. Narcissists don't handle reality well. When all distractions fade, they confront the one thing they've avoided their whole lives, themselves. It's not a spiritual awakening, it's a psychological collapse. They meet their own emptiness and realize control was the only thing they ever had to offer. Some will double down on their delusions, chasing new followers, new relationships, new lies, but others simply fade into bitterness. They gossip about you, but it no longer matters. The people who know the truth don't need convincing. Time exposes what words try to hide. Their frustration becomes a lifelong companion. It follows them everywhere, into new jobs, new friendships, new homes, because the problem was never the world around them. It was always the war inside. Until they confront that, every success will feel hollow, every silence unbearable. For you, the lesson is simple but powerful. Their frustration is not your fault to fix. You can observe without absorbing, understand without engaging. Their strange behaviors may tempt you to react, but peace is the ultimate response. You don't need to win the argument, you just need to win your freedom. The narcissist's frustration teaches something universal. Power without empathy is self-destruction. They think they're in control, but control without connection collapses. Eventually, even they sense it, the quiet loneliness that no audience can fill. That's the cost of living behind a mask. You, on the other hand, grow stronger. Each encounter with their frustration becomes a lesson in self-respect. You learn patience, boundaries, and silence. You stop needing closure from someone incapable of giving it. And in that letting go, you find the peace they've been chasing their whole lives. Every strange behavior, every manipulative outburst, every cold silence, it all points to the same truth. The narcissist is not powerful. They're terrified. Their frustration isn't dominance, it's despair. And once you understand that, you stop seeing them as a monster and start seeing them as a warning. Their frustration will continue, but it no longer defines your peace. You've stepped out of their storm and into clarity. They may still try to pull you back, but you've learned something priceless. You can't save someone who enjoys the chaos they create. Your calm is your protection now. So, when you notice these strange behaviors, the anger, the charm, the silence, the drama, remember this: it's not about you, it's the sound of their mask cracking. Let it break, because while they fight to hold on to illusion, you've already found what they never will: peace, truth, and freedom from their storm.